Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ballistic Report. My name is Taylor Moore here with Corey Spivey, and today we're going to talk briefly about Kwame Brown and his exchanges with Stephen A. Smith, Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson. Over the past week or so, I've probably seen on all the Smoke podcasts the fact that Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson were kind of talking about Kwame Brown and are basically calling him a bust. So Kwame Brown, randomly one day he gets on his IG live and he just goes in on everyone, So he brings up the history about what happened during his time with the Washington Wizards, why it didn't work out. He also talked about Stephen A. Smith and how he can be, bad for the media too as well. So he pretty much touched bases on a lot of topics, but overall, I think he made some good, interesting points, Corey. So what do you think about that?
So I started off kind of feeling bad for Kwame.
Okay.
And because he ended up in a situation where the report is that Michael Jordan roughed him up, like disrespected him, killed his confidence, made him feel like he wasn't anything. And based upon, and he spoke about this on his Instagram live, based upon the things that he had already been through in his life, growing up, in his situation, it was like, it was insult to injury. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's already a lot of pressure on you, regardless of where you get drafted, coming out of that situation. But when you're the number one overall pick out of high school, going into the greatest player of all time, arguably, that's a lot of pressure. And then you get there and you're an outcast and you get treated the way that he got treated. I'm not so sure that my confidence level will be where it is either. But then I think my sympathy for him kind of got watered down when he took it from a basketball conversation to a personal conversation. Like, he's taken all kinds of personal shots. And I agree with Matt Barnes, like, and Stacks, like, his feelings were hurt, and rightfully so. He's human. It's okay for him to have feelings. But they took it from a basketball perspective, and he started hitting below the belt. Yeah. And so he starts talking about people's wives and their personal lives and things like that. And I think it was like, okay, you took it too far. And then he's challenging Stephen A. to boxing contests. Like, come on, like Matt said, man, Stephen A. he's pushing 60, man. So, like, let's let that thing go. Like, I mean, it got really messy. And so that's why I said, I think my sympathy for him was here. But then when he took it personal and below the belt, it began to water down. Like, a lot of players get talked about. A lot of players get criticized. Like, that's what the media does. But then he starts going at people's, like they don't have talent. I mean, it got too personal, it got too private, and it got too messy for me, especially for a grown man. I understand your feelings was hurt and you felt like they were taking jabs at you. You have the right to respond, but let's keep it at a professional basketball level. Although I do agree with, there are times where I think the Black man through sports has been criticized maybe too harshly. Yes. Like, I can criticize your play without calling you a bum. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, maybe your situation didn't pan out. We talked about, in a past episode, the situation with LeBron James, like how he couldn't win championships at the beginning because he didn't have talent around him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain situations that you get in that you become a victim to your circumstances, and you can't excel at the level that you maybe want to, and that's out of your control. But it doesn't give us the right to go and take shots at people's personal lives. Like, I think that there was some foul on both sides. Yeah. And I think that he did become a media punching bag. Like, he became a punchline also, that like, oh man, you don't want this guy to be another Kwame Brown. Like, and it was like, you can only put so much pressure on someone. You can only back them up against the wall for so long before they do lash out at you. Mm-hmm. So I think he was human in what he did, but I think he did take it too far. Mm-hmm. Was he a bust? I don't know. But I can't criticize the man for trying to do his best and for getting criticized and then wanting to respond back. Derrick Rose was another one of those guys. His injuries robbed him of his career. And we still see him be able to play at a high level, even for the injuries that he has had. But I think that Derrick Rose situation goes as a testament for some other situations that sometimes I just become a victim of my circumstances. So I think that we need to do better on the media side of not attacking the individuals, just keeping it purely at a basketball sense, but also as an athlete, realize that these people are trying to, they want hot takes. They want to protect their jobs. They want to get things out to the media. So when you become the butt of that joke, sometimes you have to be able to take it because it's just one of those things that comes with the job, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would, just say start off, because I know I find myself, man, talking about players who probably weren't as successful in the league, man. So I had to put this out there for myself. Listen, in high school, I was on JV in the 10th grade, so I know I really can't talk about anybody. So I got to put it out there. But I will say, for him to play 10 plus years in the league, it's kind of hard to call someone a bust. For you to last 10 years in the league, you was able to do something right. So whether it was, rebound, pass the ball, maybe do some little putbacks. He was doing something right to stay in the league 10 plus years. Man, but I would also say another thing, man, that he said, which made a good point. Man, he was able to put his mama out of their current situation, man, to put them in a house on a golf course. So, hey, man, so in his eyes, he was already successful for being able to put his mother in a different situation just off the bat. Man, so I would say also, man, like for a 17, 18-year-old to be making millions of dollars, without a college degree, I mean, it's kind of hard to call that person a bust or anything, demeaning, man, because he was able to do that at an early age. We have some people in their 50s and 60s haven't touched $40,000 in their life. So for this person to touch $1 million in life before he's 21, it's kind of hard to even talk about this person. But I will say, just the fact that the media, they can thrive off talking about players for so long. And he's one of those examples. Stephen A. Smith, we can find all these endless videos on YouTube. He's saying, Kwame Brown. His hands were small, this, that. But the fact he was able to stay in the league for 10 plus years, it's kind of hard to call that man a bust, But I will say also, so I would say players have different personalities, just as well as, we do. So I would say that certain things make players play harder. Certain type of coaching helps so I would say certain types of coaching can help bring out the best in a player. Now I can't really speak for Michael Jordan and the coaching staff, man, but I would say that if Michael Jordan knew that he was irritating Kwame Brown when he was doing his first, second, third years in the league, it'd probably been best for him to try to change up his coaching strategy, just to try to motivate him instead of tearing him down in order to bring out the best person. But I will say, that if it was someone like Kobe Bryant, during that time, so I think that Kobe Bryant probably would have thrived during that time, knowing that Michael Jordan was trying to bring out the best in him versus trying to demean him, too. So I would say that depending on the person, the way Michael Jordan was belittling them can also motivate you during that time to be a better person, to be able to stay those extra hours in the gym so you can be able to improve your skills. But at the same time, it's other factors such as who is your support group around you as far as, close friends and family, as well as on the court, the players who you're playing with during that time. But I will say, that if Michael Jordan knew that what he was doing wasn't working, he probably should have changed his coaching style, man. But even Kwame Brown even said that Michael Jordan didn't even want him in the first place coming down. So that's already something he had to deal with from day one coming into the league. So that's why I think that's kind of frustrating too. But as you're saying, so where they kind of took it, personal, talking about people's wives and whatnot. Now I didn't care for that, but I would say the overall point that he was making just about the media talking down on Black men, he made a lot of interesting points on that, man, because it kind of seemed like if you're not successful, in basketball and football, coming into the league, you're automatically, you were sorry, you was a bust and this and that. So I would say, the fact that you're able to come into the league, you can sign a contract, you're making 6 figures, 7 figures, and basically from that day one, you can change your whole life. It's kind of hard to call anyone a bust, man, because some people can only dream of making it that far.
Right. Especially, when he talks about taking care of his mom and taking care of his kids, man, like you said, man, that's a win. And we don't know what's going on in anybody's personal life. But everybody's not built the same.
True.
Some people can show up like Isaiah Thomas after your sister is killed and come in and play through a big game, with tears in your eyes, but everybody's not built like that. And I think Michael Jordan never really understood that he, even in The Last Dance, talking about he was, putting his hands on people, cussing people out in order to win championships. That worked for some people, but it doesn't work for everybody. And so I think, and you kind of touched on this just at the end, whether you're on the media side, the player side, the front office side, or whatever, you have to be able to draw a line between the athlete and the individual. I think Michael Jordan went at this guy maybe wanting to just win championships, but we don't know how much he affected Brown's life for the long run. He may have said and done some things that messed up this man's life on and off the basketball court because everybody's not built the same. And so I think we have to start looking at that, start treating people better, period, but especially our Black men and our Black athletes. Our Black men are already being attacked just for humans. But then you add this extra pressure of the Black male athlete, sink or swim, and then I'm going to attack him. Man, come on, we got to do better than that. So I agree. He should have been able to challenge the way that they talk about our Black men on the sports platform. But again, I think some of his validity to his message got watered down when he took it so personal and so physical, trying to fight and things like that. But again, they backed him in a corner and he was ready to go, man. So
definitely true. Yeah.
See how this thing goes, man.
So as we transition on to the next topic, we've been seeing in the news that Julio Jones, he talked to Shannon Sharp on the phone doing a live show, and he basically said, "Hey, I'm out. I want out." So also later on that day, we've seen that the Titans and also the Patriots, man, were the top 2 teams, interest. So, Cole, what do you think about that, man? You think the Titans, will probably benefit by having them in, or what?
I think they would. And here's the reason why. So first and foremost, let's address what happened. When I first saw it, I'll be real with you. I turned it off because it made me cringe. I love Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking Shannon, you gotta know better than this. What? You gotta know better than this.
What's wrong with it? What's wrong?
You go listen, that could have been a potential issue. Certain stuff you don't get to put out. Julio Jones is still under contract. You're still an Atlanta Falcons employee. Listen, if I call my job in public and I'm like, yo, I'm ready to quit. Hold on, wait a minute. Well, wait a minute now. So what I'm saying is that should have been a conversation that was saved ever, particularly because there are reports saying that Julio Jones didn't know that was live.
Oh, he did?
He didn't know. That's the report. I don't know for sure, but there are reports that said that they spoke to Julio Jones and said he didn't know it was live.
But Corey, but think about this though. All right, man. So the fact that he has his number in his phone, man, so he knows during the morning time, Monday through Friday, Shannon Sharp is in that studio recording, man. So he had a clue that he was somewhere in a professional setting,
Yes.
And we all know that he wasn't gonna be here towards the start of the season, So I mean, really, Look, man, really at this point, he knows he's out. The whole coaching staff knows he's out, man. The whole league, man, know he's gonna be traded. It's just a matter of time. I think so. So I didn't think it was a big deal because everyone already knew. I didn't think so.
They knew reports. You know what I'm saying? But it came straight from his mouth now. There are legal processes. You don't tamper with certain stuff.
True.
Like, and I get you. I get that. And even from the perspective of, there are some people saying that it was staged because they never addressed it.
No.
So it could have been staged. But what I'm saying is, listen, if Taylor is in a situation where he's got some legal things that he's trying to act out, and I'm on live show, bro, I'm not calling you to ask about that. Like, I'm not calling. And I get it. Like, your number's in the phone. You got to know I'm on air. But hey, are you on commercial break? Like, and you know what I'm saying? And Jenny at the end was like, yo, should we let him know this is live? So, I mean, I don't know. That was just, it was weird to me. It was just weird to me, the way the whole thing went down. That's another conversation. But back to your question. I think the Titans can benefit more off of him than the Patriots, particularly because I think that you're going to have a great situation between Julio and AJ. Like they already, you know, kind of got this relationship. He looks up to him. They need a valid number 2 or number 1 receiver if he's going to be there or not with the injuries. I think that they can do better than the Patriots with him than without him.
Man, so I would say it would be the wrong move to bring in Julio Jones just due to the fact that we keep adding on to the offense, man, but our defense is so shaky. You know, man, so my thing is that so if we, you know, happen to get rid of, you know, some of our players, it's all going to come from the defensive side of the ball, I think. You know, so I'm thinking they may give up someone like Rashad Evans, who we declined his 5th-year contract. You know, so that means that next year we're not going to sign him to a long-term deal. That's someone that we're going to, you know, get off the books early. You know, so I think that we're going to do more harm to our team, especially on that defense side of the ball more than anything. Also to the fact that I think the whole league knows that AJ Brown is a true number 1 receiver right now. And the fact we were able to bring in Josh Reynolds in free agency. So we also drafted Dez Fitzpatrick from a Louisville Cardinals, I believe. Yeah. So the fact that we have a few young pieces to go along with the offense, because the offense is pretty much set, man. Like if our offense just repeat what we did last year, I'll be satisfied.
I don't think that we can. We lost 2 of our largest receivers.
But man, look, we know that AJ Brown is definitely more hungry than Corey Davis. I thought
more injured.
Dude, look, man, Corey Davis benefited from AJ Brown balling out. Look, all right, okay, man, because I know Corey Davis, man, like was, you know, injured early on in the year. And also the fact we had Mariota, man, so that might have been another factor, you know, but I would say, man, AJ Brown coming in as a rookie his 1st and 2nd year, man, look, he showed it. He showed the lead from day one that he has that grind in him. Now, I don't think Corey Davis has it yet. Hopefully, with the new team he's at, with the Jets, he can bring it out of him. But really, man, with that play action fake, and they have Josh Reynolds, man, because as we mentioned earlier, Josh Reynolds and Corey Davis, man, they're both 6'3", they both over 215 pounds, man. They're both basically the same type of physical build, man. So really, all you're doing is just doing a plug and play, man. Because if the number one cornerback is going towards AJ Brown, Josh Reynolds is going to eat. You know, because the thing is that he already know his role because he was basically being the 3rd fiddle because they had Robert Woods and also the other wide receiver for the Rams. So I think that Josh Reynolds knows his role coming in already. So really, more than anything, just a plug and play. They can bring in AJ, they can bring in Julio Jones, and I still feel like the offense will still perform the same as it did last year. But the defense has to be addressed. It has to be addressed more than anything.
I think the reason I say that is because my question is not AJ Brown's talent, it's his health. What happens if he goes down? Are you comfortable with just having Josh Reynolds and a couple of young guys? I'm not. No, I'm not comfortable with that. So that's why we know this is going to be Derrick Henry's offense. It's going to run through him. But what I'm saying is, if AJ goes down, yes, we do need to improve that defense. But we won 11 games with one of the worst defenses. But if you have that defense get a little bit better, but the offense got worse, now we're scoring less points with a slightly better defense. True. I don't like those odds. And so what I'm saying is if we can win 11 games with a decent offense, can we add a Julio? So because they're also, even when AJ's on the field, they're gonna double him. We don't have to worry about Jonnu. We don't have to worry about Corey. We just need to worry about if Derek is not running the ball, this ball's going to AJ. So let's just double team him, shut him down. We can manipulate these young guys who are trying to get in the lead. That's my issue. That's why I say I think adding a Julio Jones makes you a dangerous threat on both sides of the ball and out of the backfield.
You know, man, but see, my thing, I just hope the Titans don't give up too much for Julio Jones.
Yeah.
Man, that's my own thing, man, because we know that he's taking on a lot of, money. So this upcoming year, so I think he's getting about 11.5 million, I think, or somewhere around that range.
You mean Julio?
Yeah.
He's got 17 this year, 17, and then the 2-11 years. Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
So if anything, so if you're able to maybe reconstruct, so if you're able to reconstruct your Ryan Tannehill contract, because that's one of the main contracts we did not touch this year. If we could reconstruct his contract, then I'm cool with bringing Julio in. But at the same time, we have to give up maybe someone like Rashad Evans on that defensive side of the ball. Because the Falcons have a big defensive issue too.
They do.
So that's why, I'm knowing that we have to give up at least, maybe a first round pick. Maybe Kevin Byard or someone like that, so they're gonna give up something for him if we get him.
Yeah.
I just hope it don't backfire like we did last year, man. Like we released Jarrell Casey, and a Logan Ryan. But
yeah,
we'll have to see though, man.
Definitely so. This will be interesting off season for them to see how they do it. I think they can do without him, but like you said, we're gonna have to see, man. I don't know.
Thank everyone for watching the Ballistic Report for this episode. Please like and share, and please like and share with those around you. Thank you, and have a good day.